Hi, good evening, all of you. Hi, good evening, all of you. Hi, hi, good evening, all of you. Hope you are able to view me. Hope you are able to see the screen and also you are able to get my voice. So everything is clear so that I can start our today's training session. Please confirm in the comment section so that I can move ahead. Hello, can you please put your comment that yes, I am quite audible, visible, as well as the slides are also visible, so that we can move for the discussion. Today's discussion on PLC validation. It is the second session. Hello, am I audible to all of you? Please put your comment so that I will come to know कि yes, I am audible to all of you. Hello, am I audible to all of you? Hello, can you please put your comment in the comment section so that I will come to know that yes, I am audible to all of you, please. So that I will, otherwise what happen, I will go on discussing but you will not understand and you will not get connected. So I don't want to take a risk. So that is the reason I am asking you if yeah, thank you Emmanuel for confirming that I'm audible. Okay, thank you. So without wasting time, already 1.5 minutes over, without wasting time, we will go on discussion on today's topic. Today's topic is a brief on PLC validation. Thank you Mr. Vinod, thank you so much. So last week we discussed about the brief on PLC validation and it was session 1, and as I come to know that it is not possible to complete this training in one session. So that is the reason I planned this session in the two parts. So first part is already completed last week and today we are going to discuss on the part 2. Before moving ahead, I request all of you to please subscribe this YouTube channel so that you will get all the notifications. It is free of cost. Subscribing is a free of cost. No cost is required. But the benefit you will have is if you miss any training, you will get the notification automatically from the YouTube. So if you miss, you can attend the training session. So please subscribe if you are not subscribed it. Okay. So let us discuss on the topic. Okay, without wasting time, so what we are going to discuss today, so this is our training agenda. So there is some 5 to 10 seconds delay will be there to come the slide on your view. So what we are going to discuss today about this topic is, you know, the brief discussion about the PLC validation and validation strategy. We will discuss about some brief about my CV. Then we will have a quick recap about the session 1. As I told you that PLC validation I am conducting in a two parts. So I am going to conduct a second part. So the point is, the persons who are attending the second part, just refresh what we discussed in the first part. That is what some slides are there. Quickly I will discuss about the session 1 quick recap. Then we will discuss about the understanding different test strategies. What are the test strategies and testing, different type of testing like black box and white box testing and all that we will discuss. We will discuss about the agile testing approach. Somebody asked me about the question last time, you know, please discuss about the agile and all. That was somebody's expectation. So I am discussing about the agile testing approach for the PLC validation. Then normally people will discuss about the differences between the agile approach and waterfall approach. So what is the agile approach for validation and what is the waterfall approach for validation? That differences we will discuss so that everybody will be clear on this topic. Followed by, there are some testing with respect to the QTP, like quick test professional testing and manual testing. What is the difference between these both the testing, like QTP, like quick test professional testing and manual testing differences? What are the different stages of manual testing, that we will discuss, and in detail we will discuss about the stages of a manual testing. Then what is the system retirement plan, so how you should arrive on the conclusion that system should be retired, that we are going to discuss. Followed by the question answer session and vote of thanks. So I request all of you to put your questions in the comment sections so that at the end I will go through all the questions and I will answer all the questions. Okay, so this is what the brief overview for today's training session. Again, just one reminder that if you have not subscribed, please subscribe this YouTube channel so that you will get the notifications, and it is a free of cost. So no cost is involved. So you will get the notifications about the all the different learnings. I am conducting all the different trainings on every weekends, preferably Saturday. And also in the mid of the week, like Wednesday, I am conducting some question and answer session. Wednesday session is a short, maybe 10-15 minutes duration, so that I am picking up some topic and I am discussing about some key questions. Okay, so this all you will get the benefit from the subscribing this YouTube channel. So this is just a brief disclaimer. You can go through this disclaimer, that whatever I am going to discuss, this is based on the literature survey and the guidelines and all references and all. If you want to implement, you need to refer the current version of the guideline. So that is the reason I put this disclaimer. Now this is just a brief about me. So my name is Hitendra Kumar Shah. I am a CJMP compliance consultant, trainer and auditor from NADH plus GXP compliance services. This is a brief about my CV. I don't want to put more time here, so I am just quickly skipping these slides one by one. I am having more than 23 years of experience, and out of that more than 13 years I was a quality head, and this is all my work profile. More than 500 sites I have audited till date. That is the reason currently I am doing the auditing role also. Different type of audits I am conducting, and training more than 500 participants, maybe candidates I might have trained. This is my work profile in different companies. I started my career in Sun Pharma. Then I work in Blue Cross Laboratories. Then I work in Alembic Pharma. Then I work in US Vitamins as a quality head. And I work in some multinational companies also, where I work in AstraZeneca, Sanofi and Mylan. In Zydus Cadila, I was the overall compliance head. So this is just a brief about me. And now, without wasting time, let us discuss about the next, that is a recap on the session 1. Correct? So now let us start our discussion on the recap on the session 1 of the today's topic. Okay. So now, what we discussed last time, last time I discussed that already I have taken one session 2-3 years back about the brief on computerized system validation. There I discussed brief about the CSV requirements and all. Why I discussed this point? Because last week I discussed about the classification criteria of the computerized system. So one is the computerized system, one is the computerized equipments, and another is the Excel spreadsheets. So computerized systems means the systems which directly access through the web base are called the computerized systems, or directly installed on the computer and can be used. And computerized equipment means the computerized system which are used to operate the equipment or instruments are called the CE, computerized equipment. And the third is the Excel spreadsheets. So that all, last time I discussed. So these are the basically 3 different classification of the computerized systems. However, as per the GAM5, there are 4 different categories that also I discussed last time, and also in the main my video brief on computerized system. You can go through that also. If you wish, I will share this link in the description section. You can go through this. Okay, this is I am going in a quick way, so that you should not waste your time on this. Further, we discuss about what is the expectation of a validation. So requirements of validation like URS, FAT, SAT, then IQ, OQ, PQ, then functional specifications and all. That is all validation master plan. This is all required for the the validation. And this is already I discussed in the earlier training discussion. So this again I skip this discussion, and I am here more with respect. I am more discussing about the testing part of the PLCs and all. After that, many companies I discuss about that many companies lack the traceability matrix. They perform the risk assessment, but they lack in developing the traceability matrix. So how we should develop the traceability matrix, that we discussed during the last session. I am going, so please understand that if you want to go ahead this session, please you can add you can go through the recorded session of this recap of a session 1. Okay, so session 1 recording is there in the YouTube. I will share the link in the comment section. You can go through that link, okay, or description section, you can go through that link. Then we discuss about the elements of functional risk assessment. So we discuss about the functional risk assessment. So what is the difference in functional risk assessment and all, we discuss about that. And infrastructure risk assessment, many companies focus only on the risk assessment with respect to the functioning of the equipment or the softwares and all, but they don't focus on the infrastructure risk assessment. That also we discuss different aspects of infrastructure risk assessment. This is a quick recap, so I am not much discussing. I am just discussing to refresh your discussion what we discussed last time. Okay, and if you miss it, you can go through that. Then we discuss about a PCS validation, process control system validation. So process control system is the systems which are used on the equipments, like which are used to control the process, which include the PLC, SCADA and all. So what we need to consider, that that last session we discussed, followed by the complexity of the systems. So which some systems are simple in nature, some process control systems are complex in nature. So why we need to consider the simple and complex nature? The reason behind this is at the extent of validation. At what extent we need to do the validation, you know. So at what depth we need to do the validation, that we should come to know. And how we will come to know? Based on this GXP system criticality assessment. You can see this color diagram. Based on that, you will come to know if it is a complex, then the extent of validation will be more. If it is a simple, then extent of validation will be less. Also, we discuss about that whether all GXP systems we need to do validation. The answer is no. If the system is sorry, my question is different. What I am telling, that all the computer system need to do the validation. Answer to this question is no. Because if the system is a GXP impacting or GXP critical or major or minor, then only we should do the validation. If it is not impacting on GXP activity, then we should not do the validation. So how we can evaluate whether the system is a GXP impacting or not? So you can see there is a flow diagram. That flow diagram will help you to evaluate whether the system is GXP impacting or not. Easy flow to make you understand about the GXP impact, and followed by you can perform further GXP criticality assessment based on the system is simple or complex. This is all we discussed last week. Hope you remember all the things. Then we discuss about the PLC logic. So whenever we are discussing about the validation of a PLC, we should discuss about the PLC logic validation, where we need to consider some key points. Which are the key points? The key points includes the during validation of a PLC logic, we need to consider main 4 aspects. 4 aspects includes normal operation, emergency stop, fault detection and recovery. So these 4 key aspects we need to discuss. That also we discussed during our last training session. Correct? Hope you remember all the things, right? So that is the reason I am not much focusing on this. And now let us discuss on the actual testing strategy for PLC validation. So from this now we will discuss about the today's focus on PLC validation. So this is what the today's part 2. This is we are going to discuss slowly and with the brief discussion on these testing strategies. Okay, so there some couple so slide is visible to all of you. Very good. So we need to have some test strategy, that what type of test we need to consider and how that test need to be performed. Basically it is based on the complexity and novelty of the system. So at what extent the system is complex and at what level it is novel, that based on that we should identify the testing strategy. Okay, so this is identified by the software developer as well as software tester as well as the user. So how it is identified, that we are going to discuss in the next course of the discussion. Okay. So before going to the how it will be decided by the developer or the tester or the user, before that we will first discuss about the what are the different type of tests are involved in the testing of the computerized system. So basically, if you see this slide, there are two types of tests. Basically, broad way, if you ask me, black box testing and white box testing. So black box means closed box and white box means clear box. Okay. So what is the difference, So basically, the difference is very simple. Difference is very simple. The point here is, black box testing, even the you can go through the screen also, but I will explain you in a very simple language. Suppose I am the pharmaceutical person, I don't have much expertise with suppose the IT functionality, then but I am the user, I am going to use that computerized system. So for me, what is important? Whether the functionality is in line with my requirement or not, correct? So whatever testing I will be doing, that is the black box testing. Here, the software testing method in which the internal structure, design and implementation is not known to user, correct? So I am not interested in how the programming is done in the software, how the coding is done. I will not be interested in that while performing the black box testing. I will be more interested in how it is functioning, whether it is in line with my requirement or user requirement or not. That testing is called the black box testing. This is very important with respect to the user point of view or pharmaceutical person point of view. Let us say example, suppose if you are involved in the validation of a computerized system, PLC or any computerized system. So what you are doing, simple example I am taking you so that you will get very clear, Suppose you first, test, what you will do, you will put the unique user ID password, right? That is a requirement, correct? So you will put the user ID and you will put the wrong password. Then whether it is allowing to access or not, then it will give the alert, no, it is not allowed. Then you put the correct user ID, you put the correct password, it is allowing, yes, access is accepted, and the next screen is appearing. So this type of all tests are under the condition considered as a black box testing, where user is not required to know about what type of programming, what type of coding, what type of testing is performed during the development and all. The user is not interested. So that type of testing is a black box testing. Exactly opposite to black box testing is the white box testing. Here, this white box testing is done by the developer or tester. They are more interested in what type of coding is there, what type of programming is there, whether the program is functioning or not, working or not, the coding is correct or not. That is called the white box testing. So when the developer or tester is doing the white box testing, they should know all the information about the programming and all, correct? So this is the simple difference between the black box testing and white box testing. Okay. Further, let us understand about the one by one first black box testing in detail. So this is the points under the black box testing. So black box testing is what? It is a way of software testing in which internal structure or the program or the code is hidden and nothing is known about it, correct? Because it is done by the user, so user is not interested in what type of program and all. Main user is interested in whether it is functioning as per the requirement or not. So that is the reason this is called as a black box testing. It is done by the testers. No knowledge of implementation or programming is required. It is a functional test of the software. So how the software functions, behaves, that is what the testing of the software. This testing can be initiated on the basis of requirement specification document. So what is my requirement and whether it is getting fulfilled or not, that is what tested under the black box testing. It is the behavior testing of the software. So how the software is behaving or computerized system is behaving. For example, if I am working on PLC and if I am putting suppose one button and pressing one button, and due to that, suppose some wall should open. So really the wall is opening by giving the command or not. That is all I am testing as a part of the black box testing. It is applicable to the higher level of testing of a software, and it is least time consuming because it takes very small time, maybe 2-3 days enough based on the complexity of the system, of course, but 2-3 days are enough for one computerized system for performing the black box testing, because you are only focusing on the functioning of the software. And another is what now? Hope you remember. The another is a white box testing. So here it is exactly opposite to the black box testing. White box testing is exactly opposite to the black box testing. So here it is mostly done by the software developer, correct? Then the person should know the code, the structure, design of the software. Then knowledge of implementation or programming is required. It is a structural test of the software. This type of testing of software is started after detailed design document. It is the logic testing of the software. Please remember, it is the logic testing software. So that is the reason when we discuss about the PLC validation. So most of the test will follow under the white box testing. The reason is all agile testing, manual testing, and QTP and all what we are going to discuss in the next slides. That will be part of that white box testing. Okay. It is applicable to the lower level of testing of software, means from the basic level, from scratch testing, that will be involved here. It is more time consuming because each coding, each program, each part is tested. That is the reason it is a more time consuming. Examples are some path testing, loop testing and all. Okay. So we'll discuss further. Don't worry about that. Okay. But you are with me. So what the different type of tests are involved? Basically, first we will discuss about that. First we will discuss about what different type of test, and then we will discuss about the detail with respect to agile and all. Okay. So why I am discussing these different type of test? The reason is you should know different type of test, and the first test is positive testing. What is the positive testing? Positive testing means its ability to do what it should do in line with the specification. Its ability to do what it should do in line with the user requirement specification. Simple example, same example I will quote it. As per my requirement, it should have a unique user ID and password. So if I am putting the user ID and if I am putting the correct password, it should allow. That is called a positive testing. So if I am putting the correct user ID and if I am putting the correct password, then if user ID is correct, password is correct, then it should allow to open the software and it should go for the next screen. That is called the positive testing. Negative testing is completely opposite to that. Negative testing is what? Ability not to do what it should not do in line with the URS. Ability not to do. For example, now correct user ID it is allowing, but if it is a wrong password, then whether it should allow? No. So that also I need to check it, whether it is a wrong password, it should not allow, it should give alarm. So this type of testing is called the negative testing. So my dear friends, remember that I always tell all people that whenever you are making the strategy for testing, regulatory inspectors or the regulators more focus on negative testing rather than the positive testing. Of course, you should have positive testing, but wherever possible, maximum possible, you should put negative testing. There are some examples, even the companies got the 483s that the negative testing challenges are not performed. So that is the reason negative testing challenges inspectors are more interested. Okay. The next is repeatability testing. What is repeatability testing? It's the ability of the system to repeatedly do what it should. Means what? Means If I am putting the correct user ID, correct password, it is opening the system. Very good. Accessing the system. Very good. But whether I am doing repeatedly and it is allowing the same or not, that need to be tested. Many companies lack this repeatability testing. So repeatability testing means what? Repeatedly system should function in line with the requirement repeatedly. Minimum, I suggest minimum 3 times. This is called repeatability testing. So whatever the critical checks are there, tests are there, you need to perform repeatability testing. That is the point I want to put a point here to discuss. Okay. The next is performance testing. Performance testing is what? Ability to do what it should as fast as effective. As fast as effective. Means, if you are putting some if you are giving some command, and it should not just take some 2-3 minutes or 5 minutes. You are just waiting for the whether the system is working or not. You need to just wait. It will not, it indicates that the performance is very, very poor. You're getting my point? So when you are clicking any SOP to open from the document control system, or if you are clicking any training record to open the training record, it should immediately open within maybe defined period, but not more than 5 seconds. If it is more than 5 seconds, then the patience of the people will lose. Okay. So I have seen, so many times, buffering will be there, round buffering will be there, because I have audited so many sites, more than 500 sites I have audited. So when we I have seen some during audit some document control systems. So when any SOP is required, the SOP they click the SOP, and there will be continuous buffering will be there for 10 seconds, 15 seconds, and after that SOP is appearing. So that time is not suitable. Please try to understand. So this is called a performance testing, and it should be challenged or studied during the testing of the computerized system. The next is a volume or load testing. What is meant by volume or load testing? Basically, it is the system's ability to manage high load it should. Volume load testing is required when system resources are critical. Means, I will give simple example so that you will understand in a better way. Suppose if you are using a web-based computerized system, or you are using suppose SCADA system where the multiple users can access, okay, or the good example is a web-based system, basically web-based system. So what happened, many companies, many people access the web from different locations. Suppose now if you validated that the system is suitable for suppose 100 participants or 100 users, then it should give the same performance, same results for all hundreds users. So that is called the volume or load testing. So I will give simple example. You will get more detail about this. I have a very good example for volume load testing, and the best example is the website or you can say the government websites, and in that also the best is a IRCTC example, IRCTC website. If you see that IRCTC website is used or accessed by millions of users at a time, and if you remember, that about 10 years back, the IRCTC website always used to hang in the morning time, because morning there was a heavy load or heavy volume of the users on the website. So the problem is the website was not suitable for handling that heavy load. Then it is developed, so many modifications were done, updates were done, and now the website, IRCTC website, is able to take high volume or high load. Now you will ask me that how you test high volume or high load. So simply what they do, basically, when there is a correct login ID and password, one signal is given to open the second page, correct? So while testing of this, what they do some simulation software. They use some simulation software. That software will generate millions of signals exactly similar to the signal generated when you are putting the user ID and password. So the signal which is generated as a result of unique user ID and password, similar type of millions of signals are artificially generated through the simulation softwares, and based on that they will check whether the next program is running or not. So next program is running means what? Automatically next program is what? Opening the second screen. So that way indirectly these tests are performed for high volume or high load testing purposes. Hope you are getting my point. Again, I am telling, if you have any questions, put in the chat box. At the end of the session, we will discuss on that questions. Okay. After this training also, if you have any questions, no problem. You put in the comment section. I will reply to all your questions. The next is regression testing. This is also very peculiar testing. Okay. Regression testing means what? System ability to still do what it should after being modified according to specified requirement. Also verifies the portion of the computer systems are involved in the change were not adversely affected. Simple example I will tell you to make you understand about the regression testing. See, there may be some 10-15 minutes more for this training session, so please bear with me. I will try to cope up in half an hour, but if not possible, please be with me. Okay. So regression testing means what? What happened? See, you are using the computerized system, maybe a web based, or maybe you are using the PLC or SCADA or any computerized system. So what happened? There will be some changes in the software. There will be some upgradations, some patches will be upgraded, some antivirus will be updated, or sometimes if it is a computer based software, some Windows basic will be changed and all. So due to that, what happened? It should not impact on its performance. A small changes, it should not impact on its performance. That is called regression testing. Hope you got in a simple language about the regression testing, right? So now let us discuss about the agile approach. So what is agile approach? Now this is with respect to specifically the the developers and testers who are developing the software and testing the software at the vendor end or computer software developer end. Okay. So they are following the agile approach nowadays. So what is that agile approach? That is what I am going to discuss here. Agile methodology is a project management approach that prioritizes cross-functional collaboration and continuous improvements. So what does it mean? Simply what happened, see, it is a suppose the computerized system like PLC. Okay. So what happened in the PLC, there will be so many functionalities, correct? So there will be so many functionalities to monitor the data, to access the data, to evaluate the data, and then based on that to take some actions. So many programs will be there in only one PLC logic, correct? There will be so many logics, correct? In the one PLC. So what happened? As a part of agile approach, what they do, they make small projects in that. Small. That is the reason I took this picture. Small steps with respect to the time, so that you will get the better results. So what happened? They divide the project into small phases and guides the team through the cycle of planning, execution and evaluation, that yes, this you have to complete. This have to complete within this period. This small project need to complete within this period. And then they club all this project together to have a complete holistic validation. So this is called the agile approach. Okay. Further we will discuss. Don't worry about that. But this is the meaning of an agile approach. Don't worry. See, again the next slide is about the agile approach. So agile means what? A simple definition. Agile means if you give some target within some timeline, if you give some task within some timeline, for example, the person is running and person has a timeline, yes, within 20 seconds need to reach 100 meters or whatever, target within the particular time. That is called agile. So same is applicable here. Same thought is applicable here while discussing the agile approach. I will just go through the slide. In an agile environment, validation must be the integral part of the development process with validation activities performed at each sprint. This sprint terminology is used in the agile, so I thought that I will use the same terminology, sprint. So what is meant by sprint? Sprint means, those small parts we are converting. Now that is called a sprint during the agile approach. So whatever the small parts are covered, considered, and we give the goal or target that within this period it has to be complete. That is called sprint. Or in our terminology, you can consider, for our understanding, simple small programs. That is for our understanding, right? That is called sprint. So basically it is an integral part of the development process. This approach allows validation to be built into the development cycle. What is meant by this? What is meant by this? This means the quality by design approach. Quality by design approach means what? While developing the software, while designing the software only, you are building the quality into that. You are testing the components, you are testing the programs, you are testing the codings, and you are ensuring their functioning and all. That is called the agile approach. So in our language, it is a QBD approach, quality by design, and it is same. It is followed in the agile approach. Hope you are getting my point, right? Clear? Hope everyone is with me. We can achieve this agile approach by using some automated testing tools. Okay, so there are a lot of automated testing tools are there. They can be integrated into the development cycle and allowing testing to be performed automatically after each code change. So what happens when one coding is there, they test the code. Another coding is there, they immediately test the code. Third coding, test the code. Then clubbing of the three codes, again they test it. So that way they are testing. So this is called the agile approach. Simple language I am explaining to all of you. Okay. Now many people ask the question that what is the difference between the agile approach of PLC validation and waterfall approach. You may be aware about waterfall, right? So waterfall means what? First, URS, then hope you may be aware about the flow, user requirement specification, then functional requirement specification, then developing the product. After developing the product, then you need to go for the testing, IQ, OQ, PQ, correct? This is a waterfall approach where, it is in a separate stages, development and testing in a separate phases. The testing phase is done after the product is built. That is a waterfall approach, step by step. But agile approach is something different. Agile approach is what? During development only testing is there. Small coding is developed. Suppose there are 100 types of programming and 100 types of codings or programs. After each development of each program, it is tested. While in waterfall, what happened? First complete development is there and then it is tested. That is called waterfall approach. After that, what happened? If problem is there in the waterfall approach, if problem you come to know, again you have to retrospectively, you have to verify where it is a problem, you have to investigate, follow the fault tree analysis, and you have to investigate at where is the problem and all. So that is all reactive approach in there in the waterfall. But in agile, what happened? Whenever you are developing, so you break that all the programs, codes in a small part, and then once it is developed, immediately it is tested. Once it is developed, immediately it is tested. That is called the agile approach. Further, agile approaches focuses on customer satisfaction and therefore includes customer involvement throughout the development phase. So when they develop this small testing approach, then they immediately connect to the customers to have some novel idea that if customer is expecting this control, why don't we have a better control? so that way they can have a continuous interaction with the customer throughout the development stage. While waterfall doesn't involve a great deal of a customer involvement. These are the basic difference between the agile approach and waterfall approach for PLC validation. Hope you are clear with this concept, right? Again, I am requesting, if you have any question, please put your question in the chat box. I will reply to your question. Okay. The next question always people will have that what is the difference between verification and validation? Because during PLC validation, no, this is continuously the terminology is used, verification and validation. So that is the reason one slide I put here for verification and validation. So verification is the process of verifying all the elements of software development, including codes and document at every stage of the development. So you have to verify whether all codes are there, all programs are there, and whether they are documented. That is called verification. And validation means what? Checking of that all, whether whatever the developed code or developed program is complying to the requirement or not is called the validation. That is the point want to clear through this slide, because many people ask the question, even during interview also they ask the question. So I thought let us discuss about this topic. Now let us have one more aspect about the PLC validation, one more terminology people will use, that is a QTP. So testing, we already discussed about a different type of test, right? Like positive testing, negative testing, regression testing, so many testing we discuss, correct? Performance testing and all. Then we discuss about the validation approach for agile and waterfall approach, correct? For validation, correct? And we come to know that agile approach is far better than waterfall approach. That also we come to know. Now when we are performing the testing can be QTP. QTP means what? Quick test professional. QTP means what? Quick test professional. It is a automatic testing or manual testing. So what is the QTP and what is the manual testing? That we are going to discuss from these next 10-15 minutes. Okay. So point here I want to tell you here that we need both QTP as well as manual testing also. Many people will say that like, you know, which one is better, agile approach or waterfall approach? Decision is very clear, agile approach is better, correct? But here we need to have a QTP testing as well as manual testing, and that is the reason after QTP testing we will discuss manual testing also in different stages of a manual testing in detail. Okay. So you know what is the QTP testing? Formal verification proves the correctness of the system by checking whether a formal model of the system satisfy the properties or requirement. In general, the QTP means what? Quick test professional. It is also called as unified functional testing. It's okay. Okay. So it is basically the automated testing. That is what I was telling you. So QTP testing is also called as unified functional testing. It is just for your information. And example is HP. You may be aware about the HP laptop. So this type of testing example is HP, Hewlett Packard. They in HP they use the Visual Basic scripting for a testing purpose. The developer may be aware about that. To be very frank, as a pharmaceutical person, you may not require this much of details, but at least when you are reviewing the PLC validation or SCADA validation or computer system validation, you should know. You should know. That is the reason you know I am putting this. Why? Suppose if you review the validation document, you approve the validation document, and suppose if any basic questions are asked by the inspector, you should able to answer to the inspectors. So that is the reason I am just clarifying these all concepts from my end. Okay. So let us discuss about further. Manual testing handles complex test cases, while automated testing handles simpler and more repetitive tests. Means what? I told you that in Agile, you know, there are small, there will be hundreds of programs and hundreds of coding. So whatever the small programs are there, they are tested with the help of some simulated software. It is called the automated software, that is called the QTP testing, correct? But when you want to verify a big integrated component, you know, maybe program 1 to program 2, program 2 to 3, 3 to 4, 4 to 5, up to 10. So if you are running the program 1, whether the program 10 is responding or not, that type of testing is the somewhat complex testing and can be done through the manual testing process. However, the small or simpler small tests can be done with the QTP testing. So manual testing is still important, but adding automated testing makes your manual test more efficient. The reason is what? If suppose you are not using the QTP testing, you are only using the manual testing. So in the manual testing, what happens? You will test some complex, like, you know, 1 to 2, 2 to 3, up to 10 programs. Suppose 1 to 10 program you are checking, and suppose there is a problem. Then how you will come to know where is the problem? You have to identify so many things. But if you perform the QTP testing for each component, program 1, program 2, program 3, program 4, then it is very easy to identify where is the problem in case of a manual testing. So that is the reason adding automated testing makes our manual testing more efficient. So both testings are important, but point is, first we need to go for QTP testing, and then you should go for the manual testing, because if your QTP testing is proper, then it is very useful or efficient for the manual testing when we are doing the manual testing, correct? Hope you are with me. So let us discuss about stages of manual testing. So what are the stages of manual testing? So there are basically 5 steps of manual testing. First is unit testing. Second is integration testing. Third, system testing. Fourth, user interface testing. It is also called GUI, means graphical user interface. Both are same, UI or GUI. And fifth is acceptance testing. We will discuss all these tests one by one. Maybe one slides will be there for each. So unit testing. Basically, what is meant by unit? As I told you that, you know, unit can be referred to as smallest testable part of any software. So what happened? You prepare different programs or codes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, correct? And that comprise of one particular part which control or which is used for some logic of the PLC, which is responsible for particular one logic. So for each part you already perform the QTP testing, but the, you know, the whatever the logic part, that one unit which is the smallest testable part is called a unit. So you have to identify first that unit, and then you have to focus on testing of the functionality of that component of that application. Developers often use this for, you know, identifying any bugs in the software. Basically this is done at the development cycle only, early development stages only. Somebody was asking me that when we are testing antivirus and all, so that is what I want to tell you, that it is tested at the start. Integration testing. The name is very clear, integration testing. So what happened when multiple units, now one unit is tested and under one unit there are multiple programs. Please understand the concept. All multiple programs are tested during the automated testing, and multiple programs comprise of one unit testable unit, right? And that is tested under the first stage, UI, unit under test, correct? Second is integration testing. When multiple programs or multiple units are integrated, that is tested during the integration testing. This approach helps to evaluate several application components work together to provide the expected results. This is called the integration testing. Why it is required? Because one program will result to one functioning of the second program. Second program will impact on functioning on the third program. So that is the reason when we perform the integration testing, we will come to know that whether all different multiple units are working well or not when they are connected together. Because earlier what happened, we perform only the separate test in during the first stage of a UI testing, correct, unit testing. Here when they are integrated, we test it when they are together, whether they are functioning as per the requirement or not. That we are going to test here. That is called the integration testing. This is the second stage of a manual testing. Hope I am making this topic in a very simple, easy to understand language, right? Third is a system testing. Name suggested is a simple testing, system testing. It is very simple. Testing all the integrated modules of the software as a whole. So first we tested specific unit, then we tested integrated units, maybe in 2 or 3 integration units, and now whole system testing or whole software module testing is called the system testing. It helps to verify whether the system meets the desired or expected user requirement or not. It includes multiple tests like validating output based on specific input, testing user experience, and more. So I have specified this very clear, so language is very clear. I try to make it in a simple words so that you will understand in a better way. Okay. The next is UI testing, or it is also called as GUI testing, graphic user interface testing. So basically it checks and verifies the various aspects of software and user interacts with. So how user is interacting with that software, that is called under the UI testing. Simply this is under the or this testing you can say need to be evaluated in detail by the user. That is my point here, clear. User may not be aware about the development and all, but user should know that how the user interface is working. That means what? How the software is working, how the PLC is able to control my instrument or equipment. That is called UI testing, and it should be done focusedly by the user, because it is tested to ensure that the function whether it functions in line with the functionality and performance requirement. Basically UI testing covers all the visual indicators and graphic based icons. That is the reason, as it is graphic based icons are involved, it is called the graphical user interface or GUI. So what are example like graphic based icon means toolbars, font, menus, or whatever is appearing on the screen. In simple language, whatever is appearing on the screen, testing of all the things is nothing but the UI testing in simple language. Suppose you are opening the PLC, there will be some blocks, maybe alarm, maybe some set parameter, maybe some limits, maybe so many the visible icons will be there. That all icon testing is nothing but the UI testing, user interface testing, or graphic user interface testing. Simple language, correct? Hope you are with me. And the last stage of manual testing is acceptance testing. Simple acceptance testing is very simple. The purpose of this testing is whether after performing all this validation, performing the automatic testing, performing so many testing, performance testing and all, whether it is useful for real world. Real world means production level, production server. When it is useful for the end user, production level, that is called the acceptance testing. The real world is the terminology used by the IT, so I use this word. but for your understanding I made it simple, that whether it is useful for the production scale or the commercial scale, that is called the acceptance testing. That means what? Production server, when it is qualified and everything is available, so whether it will be suitable for the production server, when we will put in the production server, whether it will be useful for production purpose, that is called the acceptance testing. This approach helps teams evaluate how well the product means here PLC software, right? Product satisfies the user standards. It also identifies bugs in the last stage before releasing a product. So initially we tested that whether it is a possibility of bugs and all. Then before releasing the product to the user, again it is tested whether there are possibility of bugs or not. And then this is called final acceptance testing of a final stage of a manual testing, that is the acceptance testing. Hope you got my point. And we discussed today, hope you remember, and we discussed today about all the things. If you have any questions, please put your questions in the comment section. If you have not subscribed the YouTube channel, again I request you to please subscribe this YouTube channel, as it is a free, but you will get all the notifications of all the learnings. Okay, so please, my kind request all of you to subscribe it. And you understood all the testing part of the things, right? So there are some questions are there. So after completion of the training session, we will discuss the questions and answer. So there may be some 5-10 seconds more, 5-10 minutes more. So please bear with me. Many people ask one question to me, that when we should retire the system. What should be the shelf life of some computerized system, either in the PLC, SCADA or computerized system? What should be the shelf life? So that is the reason, I put these 5 points. So first of all is the usage period. We can decide based on some usage period, that how much hours it is used. Based on that you can decide the retirement plan. Second, change control. Sometime what happen, you may change some equipment which may not be suitable. So as a result of change control, you need to retire the PLC or other process control system. Third is the deviation. Sometime what happen, due to the updates, the continuous updates in the PLCs, but the vendor may not able to support to update the software in the old version of PLCs and all, or process control system. Due to that you may raise some deviations, and as a part of that you may need to retire also, that you retire the process control system, that yes, the process control system you need to remove it and you need to go for some new one. So based on some problems with respect to the updates, or non-supporting with respect to the controlling of equipments, or you may need to have more controls which the system may not supporting. Due to that you may raise some deviations. Based on that, multiple deviations or multiple problems in the existing system, you may take a decision to retire the process control system. Third is alternate arrangement plan. Or nowadays what happened, some companies they put the program for the pharma 4.0 implementation. So under that they decide to upgrade all the computerized system of the equipments and all. So based on that you can retire the existing computerized systems or PLCs and SCADAs. And final, fifth is the supplier recommendations. Sometimes what happens, supplier recommend that this software particular is very very old, no support will be provided, you need to upgrade, or you need to retire and you need to go for retire the system and you need to go for the new version. So based on the supplier recommendation also you need to retire the process control systems. Hope this point is clear to all of you. Everybody understood the topic. I try to make it very simple language and very easy to understand language. Before going ahead, I just want to tell you, kind request all of you, that on 30th of October, means after 2 days, there is a 3 hours training program on quality risk management. It is a paid program, but fees is very small, only 2000 Indian rupees. And this I am going to donate all the fees collected from this webinar. I am going to donate to the poor farmers. So that is the reason I am conducting this. So if you want to first, if you want to register, please register to this program because only 2 days are remaining. So during this training session, this will be, after the duty hours, maybe at 7 o'clock we will have on the 13th of October, 7 o'clock to 10 o'clock after duty hours. So you can attend it very very coolly at home, and we will give the training certificate. You will get the training material, some references, and of course some practical insights on the quality risk management, because many people could not make it more quantitative way, risk assessment more quantitative way, how you can do the risk assessment more quantitative way. And also there is a revised guideline of a QRM. That all we will discuss during this session. If you are interested, please send me a personal WhatsApp message. I will or email, send me any inquiry. I will share you all the things. But my suggestion is please register for this session, because I am just collecting the fund to donate the poor farmers. Okay, please help for this cause, and it is very small cost, hardly the Indian rupees 2000. That's it. Yeah, the next is YouTube has made a 3 programs called membership program. These are the GMP, CGMP, and advanced GMP. So first I told that subscribing the YouTube channel, that is absolutely free of cost. And after subscribing also, if you want additional benefit, like if you want some GMP news and GMP updates and so many different aspects of learning, then or you need to have some discounts and all, you can opt this GMP, CGMP, and advanced GMP program. If you click the join button, there will be 3 options will be there: GMP, CGMP, and advanced GMP, and each option will have a separate benefit. So you can opt the GMP membership program. It's a monthly fees, very small fees that also, and that is you are paying with the to the YouTube. Okay, and that is what from my side. Thank you so much for your kind attendance, and please again I request all of you to subscribe this YouTube channel, because in the YouTube I come to know that the 50% of the viewers still not subscribed. So whatever the views are there, whatever the people are going through this learning, 50% means half of the people still not subscribe the YouTube channel. So please, my kind request to all of you to subscribe this YouTube channel. So let us now discuss about some questions, and there is a question from Mr. Emmanuel that if Agile approach is best compared waterfall approach, which is known and clear to most of auditor, what should auditors verify if Agile approach is being used? See, basically auditors will not be interested in your white box testing. See, Agile approach specifically focuses on automatic testing, where you are testing all the programs. Means what? It is a white box testing. So auditors will not be interested in that white box testing. Auditor will only verify whether the testing is done or not. Agile approach is very beneficial for developer and the testers at the development stage or the software vendor end. Auditors will be more interested in functioning of the software. Hope you got my point. Mr. Mayur is asking, could you take any software explain CSV validation? I suggest, I think Mr. Mayur, you can go through the first training session, computerized system validation, where I have taken the example of a software validation. I think you will get a better idea about the example of some computerized systems based on the web-based softwares. I have taken some examples there in that discussion. You can go through that. Further, if you have any questions, no problem. I am here. I will reply to all your questions. Okay. So with this, I think already 1 hour. Okay, 1 hour end, and 5 minutes are more. Is there any questions? Yeah. How is the test scripts are prepared? Okay. See, basically the test scripts are prepared based on the nature of the program. So if the coding is there, whether the coding is correct or not, that is tested by preparing the test scripts. This is all at the end of the developer. If you wish I will take some points from developer and I will share with you. I will take some video at the developer and I will share with you. So it varies from different program to program, different code to code. Okay, and it is prepared by the software developer people. It is not in the pharma focus or pharma scope. So that is what I just want to tell you at this moment. Okay, any other question? I just conducted this training session so that you will come to know that what is the terminologies about agile and waterfall and different tests under the manual testings and all, so that when you will review these, because you are going to get this document validation from the software developer people. So when you review and when you approve it, you should know what is meant by this. So that is the reason I conducted this session, so that you will get some idea about some basic concepts. Okay, I think there are no any questions. So thank you so much. I will end this session, and before ending, again I request all of you to please subscribe the YouTube channel. Thank you so much, and ensure all time compliance. Thank you.